We have Matt Beckwith and Rachel Antoine and Jackie Garcia joining us from the Braille Institute, which is a Southern California staple for blindness and low vision. But I think we all recognize their special collection and their Braille challenge as being something that we can access all over the country. And so I'm excited for them to share a little bit about their program and how they're inspiring students to learn more about Braille and learn more about themselves and have more self-confidence and just become better students. It's a fantastic program you guys have. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Adrian. As you said, my name is Matt Beckwith. I'm the National and Youth Programs Manager at the Braille Institute. And I will allow my colleagues to introduce themselves as well, and then we'll get into it.
Thanks, Matt. My name is Rachel Antoine. I am the National Programs Manager at the Braille Institute.
And Jackie Garcia, I am the Resource Specialist at Braille Institute.
Yeah, so as Adrian mentioned, we are Southern California based, the Braille Institute, and we do provide services to people living with vision loss of all ages. But us here, Rachel, Jackie, and myself, we really work with the youth. So this is school-aged youth, and we also work with our programs that have a national reach. And that's what we're going to be speaking to today, which is two programs that have a national reach and really are focused on Braille literacy. So that's the Braille Challenge and Special Collection. And we're going to be speaking to the Braille Challenge first. And also we will be, we're going to take questions at the end. So of course, please feel free to enter those into the chat, but we'll be addressing them towards the end of our presentation here. So I first just wanted to open up and say a huge thank you to the California School for the Blind for inviting us and hosting us here. And I want to say also thank you just to everyone who is in attendance. We really appreciate your interest in hearing about our programs, the support that you provide for all of your students, and we're hopeful that this will be a helpful and informative presentation. So, and we're hoping to have some good discussion as well. So I'm going to start with just a very broad overview of what is the Braille Challenge. And then we're going to jump in and talk a little bit more details about this year and how we're approaching things with a pandemic. But I'm really going to start by talking about what does a Braille Challenge traditionally look like, what is it overall, and what does it look like in a non-pandemic year. So first, the Braille Challenge, it essentially is a competition for Braille. It is a competition for any visually impaired student, grades 1 through 12 in the US or Canada, who reads Braille. So any student within that fits that category is eligible to participate for the Braille Challenge. It is a two-part contest. So the first part is what we call preliminaries, and preliminaries run from January through March. Any of those students, 1st through 12th grade in the US or Canada who read Braille, are eligible to participate in the first part of the Braille Challenge, the preliminaries. And then the second part of the challenge is Braille Challenge Finals. And Braille Challenge Finals is when the top 50 Braille students in the US and Canada, so that's 10 per age category, we have 5 different age categories, they are flown out to Los Angeles. They come and they stay at USC, the University of Southern California, and it is a full week of celebration, of socialization, events, competition, and it is the most exciting week that we have for our entire year. And it's exciting because we get to see the best of the best Braille students across North America. This last year, we had 54 regional partners who put on their own local Braille challenges. And there are 2 different ways that contestants traditionally take part in the Braille Challenge. One is by participating in one of these local Braille challenges. So these local Braille challenges, they're really a single day event. And most of them look very similar, where we have check-in, they get a t-shirt, they get a goodie bag, we have an opening ceremony with all sorts of fun and hoopla and celebration. They go into their testing rooms, they take their contests, we have lunch, we have entertainment, we have a whole army of volunteers, transcribers who are scoring the contests. And at the end of the day, we have our awards ceremony where the top 3 in each category are announced. We're able to give out awards, we're able to recognize those students. And it's a really fun day. It's great for just socialization, for the families to get to know each other and the students. And so that's what our traditional Braille Challenge events look like. And like I said, we partner with over 54 different regional partners across the US and Canada to put on these local contests. Now, the second way that a student can participate is if any teachers out there that have a student that for whatever reason is not able to participate in a local Braille Challenge. Now here in California, the local Braille Challenges would be our Northern California Challenge and our Southern California Challenge. But if you ever have a student that can't compete for any reason, a teacher can always order contests and proctor that contest directly to their students one-on-one. And so that's the second way that we have the Braille Challenge is TVI proctored contests. And there are some that just, location-wise are not able to get to an event or whatever other circumstances. And we have over 1,200 students that participated in the Braille Challenge this past year. I also want to mention that although this is a competition, it is academic and is really testing those Braille skills where it's the recognizing those students that are really going to be competitive. We also try to make this very inclusive. And so there is an option for students to take contests below their grade level. So for example, you may have a 12th grader who academically is at a 5th or a 6th grade level, and they can take that contest at the lower level and still be able to participate in all of the other aspects, still be able to be recognized for their Braille skills, encouraged in that. And so we do provide that option, or they could even be taking a contest as low as down to the 1st grade level or even uncontracted. And so we do always offer that opportunity for any students, and we really encourage as much inclusion as possible there for any student that reads or writes Braille at any level. One item to note there is that students who are taking contests below grade level are not eligible for finals participation. But it is a way that they can still really participate and enjoy the benefits of the program. And then just some kind of basics of what does a program actually look like? What is the contest itself? There are 5 different age categories. So we have 1st and 2nd graders, and we call them apprentice. We have 2nd or 3rd and 4th graders, which are our freshman category. 5th and 6th, which is our sophomore category. 7th through 9th is junior varsity, and then 10th through 12th we call varsity. Now for the younger age categories, for the apprentice and freshman, that's 1st through 4th grade, they have 3 25-minute contests. And those contests are spelling, which is done verbally. They have proofreading and reading comprehension. And then for the older students, so that's 5th grade up through 12th, that's sophomore, JV, and varsity, they take 4 25-minute contests. And so in place of spelling, there's speed and accuracy. Speed and accuracy, they actually listen to a passage in headphones and are actually brailing out that passage. And then we have reading comprehension and proofreading, but there's also charts and graphs for these older students. And with charts and graphs, we use swell touch paper. So it's printed ink on the swell touch paper. When it's heated, that ink rises up, and so you can actually interact with and touch the lines. And it is testing them on their ability to interpret these raised lines of charts, graphs, and maps. And so that's just kind of a broad overview. That's really what our program looks like traditionally. Obviously, this year is unique, and I'm going to get into some specifics about how we're approaching the Braille Challenge during the pandemic. But first, I'm going to pass it over to Rachel, and she's just going to speak a little bit to how this program was developed and sort of the reasoning and history behind it.
Thanks, Matt. So one of the most common statistics cited by advocates and professionals in the blindness field is the 70% unemployment rate of people with visual impairments. We're looking to change that. Braille literacy equals independence, confidence, and success. And like Matt said, the Braille Challenge is the only academic competition of its kind in North America for students who are blind or visually impaired. The Braille Challenge was created in the year 2000, 21 years ago, by John Zamora, an instructor at our Anaheim Regional Center. It was created as a program to promote Braille literacy and has done so since day one. So that's just a brief history. I know Matt will get into a little bit more on how we thought outside of the box this year to make sure this program happened. So I'll pass it back over to Matt.
All right, thanks, Rachel. as everyone is very familiar, this year is unique, and as with everything, the Braille Challenge looks a little bit different this year. So I do just have to say, with all of our regional partners, I have been truly amazed at what people have done to go above and beyond for their students, but also above and beyond to keep this program going and to deliver this program in unique and different ways. I do have to give a giant shout out to our Northern California Braille Challenge Regional. And so it's 3 different organizations that always put this regional on each year. It's the Vistas Center, we have San Francisco Lighthouse, and California School for the Blind, who is hosting us today. And I just have to say, it has been the level of what these agencies have done to keep this program going this year. I have been truly impressed by. We are filled with gratitude. And so a huge, huge, huge thank you to those organizations. And thank you to Adrian and everyone else at those organizations that have helped bring this year. So the way that we are approaching the pandemic is we are offering a variety of different options for our regionals. So some of them are able to do some small modified in-person events, but the vast majority really are doing contests remotely. And so the way that we do this is the contests are done essentially through the mail. And so, for example, with Northern California, all contests are being done 100% virtually. So what that means is that we deliver through the mail all of the contests and the goodie bags, which Jackie's going to talk about a little bit, all the swag that we hook up these students with. And those items are sent directly to the families. And then all of the proctoring information, the instructions for the contest are sent to their teachers who are proctoring their contests for them. So then the student and the teacher essentially set up a video meeting where the box is sealed ahead of time. And so in that video meeting, the teacher sees the box, they open it up, break the seal, take the contests out. A family member helps them organize their contests, and then the proctor walks them through the instructions for the contest. There are pre-paid mailing labels that they send back to the California School for the Blind. They coordinate scoring, and then they had a virtual kickoff. They're going to have a virtual awards ceremony. And the Southern California Braille Challenge Regional is looking very similar as well. And we're essentially, it is teachers who are volunteering to proctor this contest for their students, and we're mailing the contests out and doing remote and virtual contest proctoring. And one thing that I want to note here is that for any of the any teachers out there, if you have any students who have not signed up, who may potentially be interested or eligible, we very strongly encourage you to reach out to, for Northern California, reach out to the California School for the Blind, Lighthouse, and Vistas. Their contest is underway right now. They're actually right in the middle of their testing window. So for Northern California, from January 22nd to February 12th, that's the testing window that students can participate in. For the Southern California Regional, we are starting next week, so February 8th through 21st. And although we did have our official deadline to sign up is this Friday, we extended it. We are very flexible with this testing window. And so if you have a family that's signing up even a little bit after that, as long as we can get the test to you in time and you can proctor that contest with your student and send it back to us in time for us to score it before our award ceremony, we're going to work with you guys, and we're going to do whatever we can to help support your students and to help make sure we can get this into the hands of all the families out there. So with that, I'll pass it right back on over to Rachel.
Thanks, Matt. So we provide endless support to our regionals. So our regionals just means our regional partners who host their local Braille Challenge. We want to make it as easy as possible for you to do this program for your students. So we do proctor trainings where we train staff and proctors, detailing the format and rules of proctoring a contest and how to troubleshoot any issues that come up. We provide customized documents such as permission forms, save the date postcards, and t-shirt logos. We are hosting a virtual webinar series covering a wide range of topics by leading field leaders and organizations. This year we'll hear from Humanware, APH, Mass Commission for the Blind, and the Maryland School for the Blind. We're also excited to announce that proctoring for the Braille Challenge contest is approved for CEUs by ACVREP. Any proctor of a Braille Challenge preliminary contest will earn 3 CEUs. So have fun proctoring and earn CEUs at the same time. It's a win-win. Another aspect of the Braille Challenge is our Teacher of the Year program. In December, we announced our 2020 Teacher of the Year, Jonathan Hooper from New York City. He was nominated by his peers and selected by our Braille Challenge Advisory Committee. He was selected because of the life-changing work he has done with children who are visually impaired over the course of his career, but especially in the past year during the pandemic. He rose to the occasion and helped set new standards and best practices for remote learning for his community. Jonathan won a cash prize and also a humanware device. We're currently accepting nominations for our 2021 Teacher of the Year, so get your nominations in. You can find that application on our website. Now you hear from my colleague Jackie, who will outline some of the goodies and the prizes that we offer our regionals.
Thanks, Rachel. So we give a goodie bag, which contains, well, the actual goodie bag is a thermo tote. It's really cool, and it'll keep your stuff, your groceries cool and your or hot. And also inside of it, it will be filled with a Braille Challenge hand sanitizer, a Braille Challenge sports bottle with the first aid kit. It'll have a Braille Challenge wristband with Braille on the wristband, and a Braille Challenge face mask, Brailled Uno cards, and a Braille Challenge lanyard. That's what all the contestants and proctors will receive.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Jackie and Rachel. So if that doesn't entice you, I don't know what will. Those are some great swag that every single contestant gets. And then we also have a lot of really fun prizes that the top 3 in each category are eligible for. So like they mentioned, Humanware is our national prize sponsor. And so we have to say a huge thank you to Humanware. And they this year are actually going to be providing for all of their regionals a brilliant 20-cell display. So that is going to be our top prize for the varsity. And then we also have a number of other really fun prizes for all the other contestants.
Which I can go over, Matt, if you'd like me to share with them the some of the prizes. We have an Echo Dot. So these prizes are being sent out to the regionals to give out to their winners. So we're going to be sending out an Echo Dot, a talking watch, a seedlings gift certificate, IRA gift cards. So they're going to get 30 minutes of IRA on us. And also some Aftershock bone conduction headphones, some really cool headphones that we got. So those are some of the prizes that we're going to be sending out to all the regionals as well.
So that is just a sneak peek of what are some of the prizes that your students could potentially be winning if they participate in the Northern California or Southern California Regional. So that's an overview of Braille Challenge. I really hope that was informative and that there was some new information for those of you out there. I know a lot of teachers may already be somewhat familiar, and so we're excited to hear some questions and have any discussion there. First, we are going to give an overview of our second program that we're talking about here, and that is Special Collection. So Special Collection is a multisensory storybook kit for preschoolers from ages 2 to 5 years old. So what is a multisensory storybook kit? Essentially, we have picture books that storybooks with pictures. So you can think just like traditional kind of hardcover storybook with pictures that we put Braille embossable labels over. So these are clear embossables that go over the pages. And essentially that is so that...
Sorry.
And good luck. And so for these storybooks, essentially the Braille overlays for students or for children who are just being exposed to Braille or just starting to learn Braille, so that as their parents are reading the print on these storybooks to them, the children can feel along and interact with the Braille as they go and start to be introduced to Braille just as a concept, but also for those that are learning, really start to follow along and read along with their parents as the parents are just reading the print. And then there's the multisensory aspect. So multisensory means that we provide manipulatives that come along with each of these books. The manipulatives are a lot of times they're toys or they're small things that the child can touch and feel and interact with that are designed to really bring home the themes, the characters, and the concepts that are included in the books. And so it's designed to give them an opportunity to not only expose them to Braille and allow them to start to read along with their parents, but also to expose them to these other concepts in a more hands-on way as they're reading these books. And Jackie's going to speak a little bit more to what those manipulatives are, but essentially this program is completely free for any family with a child that has a visual impairment, but it's also completely free for any teachers. So teachers who are working with families with these younger kids, you can also become a subscriber and you can order these books and these storybook kits for your families. We come out with 2 catalogs each year. So we have a spring summer catalog, and that catalog will become available in March. And then we have a winter and a fall winter catalog as well. So it comes out twice a year, and each catalog has 3 different storybook kit options. Every subscriber can order up to 2 different storybooks per catalog. So you can order, if you order 2 storybook kits for the spring, summer, and for the fall, winter, then you can order 4 throughout 1 year. And this is available, like I said, for any teachers and any families. If you're interested in subscribing, by becoming a subscriber, you will be on our email list. So we'll send you the catalogs. And then you'll also be receiving catalogs through the mail as well if you provide a mailing address. And so these are physical catalogs. And to order the books, we do have just an online order form. We also accept orders through our email that you can find on the website. It's specialcollection@brailleinstitute.org. And then we have a phone number on the website as well. And that's where you can sign up to become a subscriber. With that, I'm going to let Jackie speak a little bit to our manipulatives and some examples of some fun ones that we have recently. Oh, and Jackie, you're muted. Oh, Jax, you're still muted. While Jackie is unmuting, I can give you a short kind of overview of some of the books that we have from this last catalog and what.
Hello, Matt.
With. Oh, and she's back
Matt?
on just in time.
There you are.
There we go.
Oh, no.
You're all good, Jax.
Matt,
Yes,
can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So sorry.
No worries. You're all good.
Okay, so the 3 books that we just, well, we're in the middle of shipping out, or we just have completed shipping out, are Zoom, 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 which is a board book, a storybook about a rocket. And so we sent out with that book a foam rocket ship that the children can visualize, can see, and the shape of a rocket and so forth. Also, with the second book called Rain, Rain, Go Away, we sent out a little umbrella to every child that received that title. And with the last book, My Body, we sent out a doll so the children could feel the parts of that the storybook was talking about in describing my body, and feel the eyes, the nose, the toes, and so forth. So those are that's an example of the 3 books that were storybooks that were in the last catalog.
Awesome. Jackie, thank you so much for providing that. And Rachel, I'll let you close out if there's any final thoughts before we open it up just for questions and any discussion.
Sure. Thanks, Matt. Well, thank you all for letting us share information about our program. I hope you learned a bit. Feel free to check out our website, our webinars. I added a couple of links in the chat Braille Challenge was front page of the LA Times yesterday, so make sure you check out that story outlining Braille literacy, the importance of it, highlighting one of our finalists from our 2020 finals. Yeah, and just, keep in touch and, tune into our webinars. It'll be a lot of fun. But we'll take some questions now, so feel free to write them in the chat or to unmute yourself. I'm not sure, whatever you want.
That was awesome. They take a little bit of time to warm up sometimes. Somebody will jump on and mute.
Yeah, and in regards to that LA Times story, we never play favorites with our Braille Challenge contestants.
You sure
But
picked a good one.
I used to oversee our Anaheim youth programs, and it's one of my students who made it. So it always makes me really excited when they make it to finals. But it was also really cool because it was just a kind of a story that showed their whole journey with it, from the regionals to the finals. So definitely a fun, uplifting read if anybody's interested.
That's cool.
So I'm seeing in here are past titles available. I'm assuming that's in regards to special collections. So we do not, we only actually produce the amount of books that are ordered through our fulfillment. And so we do not have a back catalog of past books that are available, unfortunately.
And I see a question from Rebecca. Is there still time to become a proctor? What are the requirements to become one? There's absolutely still time to become a proctor. All you need is a student to proctor the contest to. The requirements are, you are a TBI or an O&M, but we can provide training. We actually did a proctor training, so we have that recorded, so we can easily send that out to you and have a virtual meeting to go over anything else, any other information you want. But yes, there's absolutely still time. While the contests are still going on, you can proctor during that contest window at any time if you have a student to proctor to. So absolutely.
Yeah, so for the Northern California Braille Challenge, everything is underway and every student has a proctor already. For the Southern California Braille Challenge, our testing window starts next week, and there are some students who do not have teachers that can proctor for them. For those students, our staff is proctoring, but if we had a volunteer proctor who is interested in proctoring, you could earn these CEUs, absolutely reach out to us and we would be more than happy to, we would welcome the support. It would really be a virtual proctoring. But like Rachel said, most of the proctors are proctoring for their own students. So if you do have students, then you would be the ideal proctor for them.
The question in the chat came from up in Oregon. Did I see that right? I was wondering, you guys don't have an Oregon regional. Do you have is it in Washington there?
Yeah, so it's actually, yeah, right on the border there at southern Washington, on the border between. So you could potentially participate in that one, depending. I don't want to say absolutely for sure because some of our regional partners, depending on their situation, can accept students from out of state or can't. One thing that I will say for sure that you can do is that you can order contests to be a TVI proctor contest. So any teacher can order those contests directly from us on our website. If you go to braillechallenge.org, you'll see a big button that says for teachers, and that'll show you the order form for a teacher. It's actually a fairly straightforward process. You really just fill out your information. We ship you a contest and all the instructions. You proctor your contest for the student, and then it ships back to us and we do the scoring.
And Rebecca, you would just contact Matt or I about becoming a proctor. I will drop our emails in the chat for you to just reach out.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. And then I see a question regarding the special collection. So the question says that on our website, when you go to the ordering form, it says we are not accepting special collection catalog orders at this time. The reason for that is that our fall winter catalog, we essentially have a window where you can make orders. So the fall winter catalog is all the orders have been completed and we're fulfilling those right now. For the spring summer catalog, that's going to be available in March. And so for anyone who's subscribed, you can go online and you can subscribe right now. And you will receive an email, and you'll also receive a catalog in the mail as soon as that spring summer catalog is available.
Any other questions?
I see.
I have a
If-
question. Adrian? I volunteered at, was it a regional in San Jose? Is that a regional Braille challenge about 4 years ago? Pat
Yeah,
Leader got,
probably at the Vista Center, yeah.
okay. And so, so is there just two, like, I don't fully understand the whole Braille challenge. I mean, there's a northern and a southern. Is that correct?
Oh,
For California, there's two regionals, yeah.
Okay. And so that one that I attended and volunteered, that was for the
Yeah, I think Northern California can get a little bit confusing if you're not in it every single year after year, because we do trade hosting. And so this year the California School for the Blind is doing it, but in future years it'll be the Vista Center and the San Francisco Lighthouse for the Blind. I know students love it because they get to see 3 different spaces when they actually come in person, rather than the same school year after year. But I do know that it can get a little confusing because you want to, like, wait a minute, I can go to the Santa Clara one or the San Francisco or Alameda County. It's the same event each year, just changes location.
yeah. And then as far as it's a 2-part contest. So there's regionals. So we actually have 54 different regionals across the US and Canada. There's just those 2 here in California, but there's 52 other ones all over the place. And then the top 50 come to finals. So it's kind of like a 2-stage contest. But thank you so much for volunteering at a Braille challenge.
Oh man, it was great energy. Everybody was happy. I mean, it was really cool. It was fun.
They're always a fun time. I mean, with so many things, it breaks my heart we can't do it in person, but it's such an exciting and just like high energy event. But thank you so much. Yeah, so I see a question regarding how many hours would be required between proctor training and actual proctoring. So for the proctor training, we have a recorded video of proctor training that's I think it came out to almost exactly 1 hour was the video with all the questions and answers. It's actually about 30 to 40 minutes of actual proctor training where we really walk through our proctor guidelines. So we have a printed proctor guidelines. But essentially, you know, it's about 45 minutes if you watch that video. It's definitely faster if you simply read through the guidelines. They're pretty straightforward. And then the actual proctoring, it depends on if you have a student from 1st through 4th grade. It's 3 25-minute contests. So with setup, with explaining things, with any troubleshooting, and then cleanup afterwards, you're looking at maybe 2.5 hours for a younger student. And then if you have a student who's 5th grade through 12th grade, there's 4 25-minute contests. So if you have one of those older students, you're looking closer to 2.5, maybe 3 hours at the top end of that.
I just downloaded Caitlin Hernandez's Challenge Maybe song that I'm going to throw in the chat just to embarrass her a little bit. You guys will download this from the chat and listen to it, and you will be shocked that someone is embarrassed by this. I promise. It's fantastic.
Yeah, if anybody remembers that Call Me Maybe song, I think it was Carly Rae Jepsen. One of our
names.
Huh?
You're calling out names of original artists. I like it.
Yeah, I know my pop culture a little bit. I know my 2013 pop culture. But one of our former students and former Braille Challenge contestants, who actually was part of our alumni panel for a webinar series for Remote Braille Challenge this last summer, she changed the lyrics and recorded her own version called Challenge Maybe, which is really fun.
That's fantastic. If you've done Braille Challenge before, you gotta listen to it. It'll make you happy through and through. And if you haven't done it, it kind of guides you through the experience of a student. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's fun. I just put it in the chat, so don't go ahead and click on it. I'll have to get Caitlin's permission, Winnie, before we go throw that online. But y'all are special. You came. Cool. Any other questions? Well, I have to say, I really, when we set out to do Tuesday Tea, it was never going to be about any type of advertising at all. And then along came these moments where we were like, well, wait a minute, like the Braille Challenge isn't an advertising thing. Like, ain't nobody making money off of this. There's not. This is pure to being a TVI or O&M in our country, in our state, and it goes beyond that. So I hope that people learned about the contest that were not familiar with it. I hope that people will see this and continue, and I hope that it can continue to be a driving force in teaching Braille skills and encouraging kids to want to learn Braille skills, which we see it as being an absolutely fantastic element of our field, and it's super important. And I completely recognize how much work Rachel, Matthew, Jackie goes into it. It is ridiculous how amazing of a presentation you guys do every year of the challenge itself, and it's very much appreciated.
Thank
Well,
you.
yeah, Adrian, thank you so much. Thank you just to everyone else here and to CSB for hosting us. We really appreciate it. And if you have any questions at all, Rachel put our emails in the chat. We are always available, so don't hesitate to reach out. And thank you again.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
That's awesome. Glad you came. Everybody, same time, same place next week. Next week, our Tuesday Tea, we'll put it out, but we're looking at Braille still. So we're talking about the importance of onboard Braille. And we're looking at two new products, the Mantis and the Q Braille. It's funny, along these lines of looking at specific products, we have this debate on campus all the time, and I realized this isn't about pushing a product. This is about understanding when and why to get a product like this. They're very different than what we're used to with Braille displays. The Mantis has a QWERTY keyboard. The Q Braille has all of the extra QWERTY keys, but Braille input for the letters. And they can be fantastic avenues to Braille for your students. But it can be very hard and challenging to pick the right one. And so we have Greg Stilson and Thomas Simpson joining us next week to help guide some of those decision-making questions that you have along that way. And onboard Braille is so important. The actual Braille on the device a student is using really encourages them to use more. So join us next week, and thank you again to Braille Institute for joining us. And I think that's a wrap.